Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at this Daniel Smith dot card of Jane Blundell's palette. There's 20 colours in total and all apart from one are completely new to me, so I'm quite looking forward to painting them out. Fingers crossed there's enough pigment on the dots to get some decent swatches. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Okay, so first up we have Buff Titanium. This is made from PW61. I've heard quite a lot about this colour, but it's my first time actually trying it. I can see how it would be pretty useful in a landscape palette. I'd imagine it'd be great for painting stonework or like a sandy beach or something. I guess you can also use it to mix some pastel colours too. Yeah, I like the granulation in this one as well. Right, next we have Hansa Yellow Medium. And this one is PY97. So this is the paint on the dot card that I have tried before. It's a very bright and clean middle yellow. It seems to be highly pigmented. Next we have Quinacridone Gold. And this one is a mix of PO48 and PY150. I do like this colour quite a lot. It's one of my favourites for mixing greens. If you saw a few months ago, I did a short comparison of the Quin Golds that I already have. I think I compared Holbein, Winsor Newton and Roman Schmal. I'd say this Daniel Smith is, just as good as any of them. Well, maybe not quite as good as the Holbein in my opinion, but it's not far off. Next we have Transparent Pyrrol Orange. And this is made from PO71. I think the only other PO71 I've tried is Schminker's Transparent Orange. Yeah, just like that one, this is a really beautiful paint. It might actually be a little bit more saturated than the Schminker. I never really use an orange pigment in my palette, but I think if I did, it would be either this one or the Schminker. Okay, next up is Pyrrol Crimson. And this is made from PR264. Yeah, I do really like this one. It's a lovely kind of muted, dullish red. I've tried other PR264s before, but I don't remember them being as nice as this. I'll probably have to dig them out and check again. Yeah, this is definitely a great choice for a crimson in my opinion. Next we have Quinacridone Rose, which is PV19. Just like with the Quin Gold, I recently did a PV19 comparison. And I think I remember a few people in the comments mentioning that this one is one of their favourites. And I can definitely see why people like it. It's definitely comparable in quality to the Quin Roses from other top brands. To me though, I wouldn't say there's anything special that sets it apart, but yeah, I'm just swatching from a dot card. Next up is Ultramarine Blue, which is of course made from the usual PB29. This is actually the first Daniel Smith Blue I have ever tried. I had heard from a few people that it can be pretty difficult to re-wet, but it was fine getting it off the dot card. It is really a nice ultramarine, and the granulation looks great. Okay, next we have Indanthrone Blue, which is made from PB60. I've tried this paint in a couple of other brands, and while I do like the colour itself, I've never really found much use for it. It's kind of one of those paints that if I put it in my palette, it just sits there unused. This one looks like a great version though. I think I do prefer this one to the Rembrandt and Winsor Newton that I've tried in the past. I think maybe I'll have to do a comparison video of the three of them. But I guess that depends if I can get any more paint off this dot card. Next we have Phthalo Blue Green shade, which is made from PB153. Now I'm sure anyone who's watched my swatching videos knows that I prefer the red shade, but I do realise that in a mixing palette the green shade is probably a bit more versatile. Yeah, this seems like a perfectly good phthalo blue, but then again I find pretty much every PB153 from most brands is pretty good. Next up is Cerulean Blue Chromium, and this is PB36. This looks really nice to me. I do much prefer to have a PB36 Cerulean Blue. PB35 is one of my least favourite pigments. It just looks like a dirty blue to me. Yeah, this one is really lovely, and the granulation looks great. Next we have Phthalo Green Blue shade, which is PG7. Just like PB153s, most brands have a good PG7 Phthalo Green. I wouldn't say this one is any better than others really. Next we have Perylene Green, which is PBK31. I only tried this pigment for the first time quite recently. A very kind subscriber sent me the Romage Mauve version. It is quite an interesting colour. Not really one I'd consider essential for me, but yeah, I always thought it would be great for, you know, tree and foliage shadows. Next we have Undersea Green. I've heard lots of good things about this one, so I've been quite looking forward to trying it. It's a 3-pigment mix of PB29, PO48 and PY150. Does that mean I could mix this with the Quinacridone Gold and Ultramarine Blue? I'll have to try that later. It's quite an interesting green. Yeah, it'd be great for landscapes, I think. Next up is Sap Green. And this is another 3-pigment mix. It's made up from PO48, PY150 and PG7. So again, maybe I could mix this one from the Quin Gold and Phthalo Green Blue shade. Yeah, another one I have to try later. I do actually really like this sap green. Most brands of sap green are too bright for me, but this one is pretty much perfect. Next we have Goethite Brown Ochre, which is PY43. Don't know if I said that name right. This might be the first paint from this set that's a bit disappointing to me. Maybe it's just not very easy to re-wet from the dot card, so that's making it a bit weak and uninteresting. It does have some nice granulation going on though, and I could see how it would work quite well in landscapes and stonework maybe. Yeah, maybe I'd like it more if I had it straight fresh from the tube rather than a little dot on a dot card. Next up is Burnt Sienna PBR7. I did a Burnt Sienna comparison recently and this one was recommended to me by a few commenters. Yeah, people always recommend Daniel Smith to me. Well, yeah, it's a lovely burnt sienna. It's very brown. Yeah, it doesn't have the glowing kind of orange undertone that I've grown to love from a burnt sienna. I still prefer my Holbein and Rembrandt PBR7, but yeah, if you like your burnt sienna to be more brown, then yeah, this is a great option. Next we have my favourite colour, Indian Red. I just love how it blooms on the wet paper, it's so nice. And this is of course made from PR101. Yeah, I've got to say I really love this Indian Red, it's so nice. I know I do say that about pretty much every Indian Red I try, but I really mean it this time. I think along with the Schminke that I tried recently, I think this might be a new favourite. Next we have Jane's Grey, and this is made up of PB29 and PBR7. So the mix of these two pigments is, yeah, a pretty well known and simple way of creating a dark, just ultramarine and burnt sienna, but I guess Daniel Smith are the first to put it in a tube and sell it to you as a convenience mix. At least I think they're the first. I could be wrong about that. But actually it's a very nice paint and definitely a great option if you don't like your Payne's Grey to contain a black pigment. Next up is Raw Umber, made from PBR7. Yeah, this is a very brown raw umber. I think there's, yeah, many people prefer their raw umbers to be like this. Obviously Jane Blundell does, but I'm one of those people who prefers the more yellow raw umber, kind of like the Winsor & Newton and the old Rembrandt versions. But yeah, this is a nice, highly pigmented earth colour, and yeah, great granulation too. And now the final paint in the set, which is Burnt Umber. And this is PBR7 as well. This is a really nice deep brown burnt umber. Lots of lovely granulation going on as well. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Okay, so that's all of them painted out, and here they are when completely dry. Wow, just yeah, a lovely set of paints. 20 colours would be way too many for me, so I'd probably drop at least 8, but then again, this isn't my palette, it's Jane Blundell's palette. I'm pretty sure that it's her ultimate mixing palette plus another 5 paints. Yeah, the main purpose of which is to be suitable for any subject matter and to be able to mix pretty much any hue you could want. And yeah, for that purpose I'd say it's an excellent mix of colours really. Yeah, and I'm very impressed with the quality of the Daniel Smith paints. Yeah, they're definitely at least as good as all the other top brands out there. I mean, I'm always going to prefer, I think, Schminke and Winsor & Newton myself, but yeah, there's just something about those brands that I like more, but Daniel Smith are definitely, yeah, a really great option. So what do you think about this palette? Are there any changes you'd make to it to suit your style, or would you just leave it the way it is? And thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye bye.